all of that. College football is back, kind of. It'll really be back this week as we get into week one, and it opens in mass around the country. So we'll talk about that. Matt Smith, southernpigskin.com, will join us here on the program, and we will talk college football with him as well. You're welcome to call the show, 912-342-7184, 912-342-7184 if you want to hop on the show, or if you want to. You want to hop on, Christian? You want to crash the show? I mean,
no.
That's the content we know and love.
No, Christian hit us with the silent. No. No, Kevin, you want to hop on? No.
Much like Jim Harbaugh,
it's going to be biblical.
No,
like Jim Harbaugh
said. Yes. If all of you, we can say certain things now with the show. Last couple of shows. If you want to know what it's like to be in a relationship, Kevin and Christian just showed you. Kevin starts the show. He says, "Hey, yeah, do you want to get on?" No. So you stand right in front of me. You look right at me to say no. But then later on, it'll be no. Maybe I said no because the way you looking at me, I know you didn't win. So you looked at me, and because of how I looked at you, you said you don't want to come on. Yeah, but didn't I ask you? I didn't like your tone. Okay.
Yeah, 100% relationship
goals.
Absolutely. We've got, again, a lot to get to here on the show. Matt Smith going to join us. A lot to try to get to here this week as we are, as Ben said, in the countdown of our final now 3 shows until 3 and Out on the radio is no more. So, again, if you wish to join us, hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We are streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. You can also comment on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And catch the show there as well. Plenty of Brave stuff to talk about. But Ben, first and foremost, college football is back. And it took exactly 28 seconds before people started complaining about their favorite team. Nebraska and Northwestern were the first up. And then the entirety of the first half, it was, here we go again with Scott Frost and Nebraska. They come back. They take the lead. For some stupid reason, try to onside kick, up 10. In that ball game, and then end up losing to Northwestern. And you got to feel bad, because I know BJ talks about, statistical things. And usually, hey, if you lose a lot of close games, like it's bound to turn in your favor at some point. Just the odds of you to keep losing every close game is bound to turn in your favor. Apparently not if you're Scott Frost in Nebraska. I think that's what, 9 in a row. They've lost by 1 possession. I think they lost 8 games last year by 1 score. That is brutal. I mean, people talk about this all the time, Ben. Would you rather lose by 55 or by less than a touchdown? Man, if I lost 8, 9 in a row by less than a touchdown, I'm like, dude, what do we got to do?
Yeah.
What do we got to do to put one over? And if you're Scott Frost, you flew all the way to Dublin just to have the same old narrative started up again of, is it ever going to happen, and should Nebraska move on?
Well, Kevin. I mean, I want to go back to recent history. People ask, "Hey, man, how can you usually dictate future results?" Well, past results. And Scott Frost's first year there was 2018. They went 4-8. They was 3-6 in the Big Ten. 2019 they was 5-7, so they did improve, but they was also 3-6 in the Big Ten. 2020 they were 3-5 because had shortened. I didn't. 3-5 and they tied for 5th. Then 2021, they was 3-9. They was 1-8 in the Big Ten. And this year, 0-1. This is the thing. People ask, why do they give Scott Frost so much time? It be these buyouts. It's not what he's doing. It's these buyouts. And Scott Frost, and just to show you guys, though, people saying, well, what happened before Scott Frost got there? I'm glad you asked. In 2015, under Mike Riley, there was 6-7. Right? I'm sorry, 2015. In 2016 under Mike Riley, they were 9-4. Now, Kevin, that's an outlier because in 2017, they were 4-8. So since 2015, they've won 6-7, 9-4, 4-8, 4-8, 5-7, 3-5, 3-9, and 0-1. At a certain point, you got to ask yourself, is it the program or is it the coach? And right now, you really don't know. You really, really can't tell. You've had 1 winning season in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the last 7 seasons, you had 1 winning season. And Kevin, we said this. We rooting for Scott Frost, but you know why we rooting for him? Because of what he did at UCF, right? but UCF's been pretty good since he's left. So that just shows you that program has staying power. That culture, that structure they got built up. Nebraska's been a while. And I don't know what it's going to take, but when you got big time programs like Nebraska, who if I'm not mistaken, I think Ndamukong Suh gave enough money to get the weight room named after him. Shout out to you, Ndamukong Suh. Love you, Florida. Not getting my money. I'm just saying, it's like, what is the problem? Because Kevin, we talk about Clemsoning. That's over with now, right?
Right.
We talk about we don't call it NC Stating. We just call it they're gonna do something. They're gonna ACC itself. NC State hasn't. And Nebraska is one of those head scratchers, like you're saying. Why do y'all? It's almost like you say, "Hey man, they winning. They're not gonna mess this up." And you do it on sidekick. Why? Why? So you don't get the ball back, and you just switch the momentum that you never got back. Make them draw the length of the field. Like what you were doing up to that point was working. Bad teams make bad decisions in inopportune times. That's what Scott Frost did. They're going to ask the game, that's on me. Well, yeah, coach, we've gotten used to hearing that. The last, I don't know, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And Kevin, this is why fan bases go crazy. We talked about this before the show. I don't know what it is about a game week of your favorite college team. Your timeline is flooded. Yep. I've seen more Florida, Utah previews. I know the players' favorite colors, what they like to do when they ain't playing foot. It's crazy. But I will say this right now. What the age-old question, do you want the team you root for to win more than you want your rival team to lose? And the answer is, I don't know. I really don't know because I know about both of them. But the thing about Nebraska is Nebraska has become that team that everybody wants to pile on. Because you know who didn't lose on Saturday? That would be Vanderbilt. And not only did they win.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Come on. Well, Kevin, this is the thing, right?
I mean, we're making out Vanderbilt to be like 2001 Georgia because they beat Hawaii.
Here it is, Kevin. No. Talking about some of the haven't won an opening game. I think since like 26. I don't know if it's an opening game, but got a chance to go 2-0. But this is the thing, though, Kevin. Vanderbilt, no, we got to get ours out early because it's gonna get ugly after week 2. But we said this though, Kevin. Not only did they already have a bowl game atmosphere, they took Hawaii to the woodshed. It was. Listen, when D linemen are picking up fumbles and running it back in, it's a good day. But shout out to them, Commodore. But somebody said this. I think they might have stole somebody's V though, because that V looks real similar to another V in college football. But Vanderbilt, they got the dub. They look good doing it. Clark Lee said it. Best program in college football. Now that's not. We know that's not the truth.
Did they score the most points in week 1?
I think 6-3.
Then maybe they are the best team in college football for 1 week.
Listen. For 1
week.
Well,
not even 1 week because it was week 0.
Yeah, exactly. So when you find listen, so think about this. So 10 years from now, when somebody said, "Man, remember when they beat Hawaii, man?" Yeah, well, they weren't even in rank because it was week 0. So they don't even count that week 0. So what? Does Nebraska say, fellas, don't even worry about that? It don't even count. Oh, it does. Northwestern. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, look, I love it because, again, everybody's excited about week 1 coming up. Tennessee fans will be excited until 1 second after the game kicks off, and then it'll be like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Coming up this weekend, Georgia fans, I mean, you should be excited because you're defending national champs, but, Stetson throws a pick against Oregon, and then here it comes. It's like you just know. College football fans can't be happy.
No, Kevin, no, Kevin. What you missing is this. No, the brawl for it all is week 1 against the former USC college.
Oh, that is true.
USC quarterback.
The backyard brawl.
And this is what I say. When did becoming a starting quarterback become breaking news? Breaking news. JT Daniels has been named the starter at West Virginia. You think? I mean, Slovis. He's gonna be the starter. I mean. Didn't we already know this? I mean, they've been on more teams than Ryan Fitzpatrick in the NFL. These boys are well-traveled. They are a long way from Southern California, but you're wishing them both the best because they better play well, right? They better play well. Haynes King, he's going to be the starter, in Texas A&M, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers don't know who the hell their starter is because you know who's starting for the Seattle Seahawks, Kevin? It is not Drew Lock. It is Geno Smith. What is going on in Seattle? All I know is college football is back. This is why we love it, Kevin, because it's so many storylines that you cannot keep up with them. Because you know who people saying watch out for, and it makes me sick? Texas. What are we doing? Watch out for what? What? Ewers took the bread and left? Got his cheese in Ohio State, got to spend a year in Columbus. Like, nope, can't do it. Never saw snow in my life, not dealing with it. I'm going back to Texas. But, hey, college football is back. Week 1 is officially here. Vanderbilt dominated the headlines in week 0. Sorry, Scott Frost. Different year, same result. We'll see. Y'all going to be bottom feeders until something else happens. And, hey, man, you know, Florida State get a big dub. You know, I'm just Kevin. Kevin,
is that why BJ's not here? He was too busy partying that big dub over Duquesne.
I will say this: call BJ during the game, phone don't work. Soon as the score goes final, hello. You wasn't even watching the game. You can't pick up the phone. But hey, but listen, shout out to the Florida State boys. Listen, there's not a lot of passing to go around. But if you ran the football for Florida State on Saturday, you probably got you a nice TD.
And we got a comment from Mike there on YouTube. Tell me why there are so many Thursday games. It's supposed to be Saturday. Well, Mike, I will say this: one, it's TV. 2, I mean, we have to make up for the embarrassment that was week 0. I'm being honest.
Yep.
But you look ahead, Thursday night, Tennessee's in action. You got Oklahoma State in action. Pitt, West Virginia might be the best game on Thursday night. The backyard brawl renewed with 2 former Southern Cal quarterbacks going at it. I mean, you got Penn State, Purdue. That's a conference game.
Makers.
That's a conference game going on there. You got some other, Louisiana Tech, Missouri. I mean, if you think Missouri might be the team that Vanderbilt could beat, that could get interesting. And you got a couple other games there. And actually, Friday's got, 7-8 games on Friday as well. So it's all TV. They've kind of turned, much like Ben has said about the draft, we're going to take something that's awesome and turn it into a 3-day event.
Stretch it out.
We're going to take the opening of college football and we're going to milk it for as many days as we can get. And you know what, Mike? You're a sucker. And I say that in the nicest sense because I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
Ben's a sucker.
Yeah.
We're going to sit there. We're going to flip channels on Thursday night. And then we're going to maybe take in a few Friday. And then Saturday, I'll be worthless. I'll be watching college football, albeit with a different frame of mind. But, I mean, you got that. There's more on Thursday.
Yep.
There's more on Monday.
Yep.
I mean, again, you got 5 days in a row to just sit there
and Kevin
and watch football.
And Kevin finally said it. Like, you know, we've known Kevin a long time now. People are like, what is it about college football? What? Yeah. We suckers for it.
It is.
Like, think about this. We know what's gonna happen. But you know what? You know why they do night games? Why? Rain delays. Because it's gonna be a rain delay. And we got to sit there. Like, Florida's playing Utah at 7:00. I
was going to say, what game in Florida is it going to get delayed?
What is the likelihood it's going to rain? I don't care if it's 20%, it's going to rain. And we're going to have to sit. But what is worse than rain? Primetime games and freaking commercials. They will go to commercial. Listen, man, somebody just sneezed. We're going to take a pause for the calls. Oh, somebody's laying on the field. Oh, they run the offense too fast. D lineman got the signal to lay on the field. The game will end. Listen, the game will end at 11:59. Just so they say the game didn't go into Sunday. Yes, it did. Of course, it did. I'm telling. And Florida got about 3 games open up at night. Like you say, Kevin, it's about programming. We want to dominate all day long. We want the night. We want the opening day game. We want the midday game. We want the Sunday night game. We want the game of the week.
Yeah, Mike said he's only got 3 TVs. He's going to have to watch some on the phone.
Mike, can
I come to watch Mike and Ben and I come watch the game?
I only got 3 TVs. I ain't even got a TV in my bedroom.
I've always been I have this thing called a wife, and I don't have a man cave, so she will not let me have 3 TVs in one room.
She knows if you get a man cave. Listen, what do you want? I want a door, right, that she can't just kick open.
Yeah.
With a lock on it.
I'm not allowed to have a room with 3 TV screens in it.
No, this is the thing, right? I will say this. I don't have a man cave. I had one. I semi-had one when I lived in Florida. But my friend got one, and it's in his basement, and it is nice. And unfortunately, he's a Cowboys fan. So I had to deal with that. But Kevin,
do you ever go over there and say, hey, can you turn the Titans game on?
No, I mean,
or do you not want to watch that?
It's one of those things, Kevin, that you know how we suckers when it comes to college football. I get so sick of. I'm telling you, man, Dak and Zeke and Mika Park. It's not gonna work. Who cares? I mean, who cares? Listen. The mere fact that Dak and them was first coming out the womb right? When he was winning, when they was winning, you know, man, back in the 90s, yeah, when gas was much lower and Dallas was winning. No, Dallas Cowboys are not winning it. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, you're not winning it. You can get mad at me all you want to. Jerry Jones is the master brander. That brand is serious. I think the highest. I think it's the most expensive brand, a franchise a franchise. I think it's like Dallas and like the Yankees or something. Like Dallas, the Yankees, and the Lakers.
Probably.
Lakers won, I think, in 2020. Yankees been since 2009, and well, the Cowboys ranked number 1. So people say, hey man, you want to build a winning brand? Yeah. Well, it can't be a winner. How about that? Because Dallas Cowboy fans get mad at me. But yeah, Kevin, listen, it is our prayer to listen to you man cave people out there. We want a free man cave. Freemancave.com. We want it.
Yeah, set me up. Yeah, we certainly do. We certainly do. Hey, we got a lot to get to here on the show. We'll talk football. Matt Smith, SouthernPigskin.com will join us. Ben and I will look at Georgia, Oregon, Florida, Utah coming up. Also had a lot of big games on Saturday, week number 1, to get this thing started. It is 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Love to hear from you here as we come down the stretch of the show, 912-342-7184, or you can send us a note on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And we appreciate you being with us here on this Monday. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you here on 3 and Out on this Monday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, thanks for making us a part of your day. At Pigskin Radio on Twitter, or you can leave the thought on Facebook, Twitter, as I just mentioned, or YouTube, where you can watch us streaming live here on 3 and Out, as well as the radio network. But college football is back. Georgia and Oregon been coming up this week, and our good pal AC said he wants to talk Stetson Bennett here. AC, what's happening?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking my call. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing all right.
Perfect. You know what? Everybody's everybody's counting out the mailman. I don't know why he calls himself the mailman. I gotta do some homework. Stetson Bennett, this is what's gonna take him to get to the high. He won't win the Heisman Trophy. This is who I'm thinking. Let's assume he just decimate Oregon this week, and Stetson Bennett has a monster game. And here and out from that week after all the way to Georgia Tech game, it's relatively easy. Only thing this guy has to do is toss 3 to 4 touchdowns at a monster game. He could find himself in New York City for the Heisman Trophy. Potentially, he could win it. But this is what I'm going to say. This is a smart way to go on about for Georgia. Let's face it, guys. Georgia and Alabama, they might lock up again for the SEC championship. So my thing is, if I'm Kirby Smart and the coaching staff, and the game 3.5 quarters away, a bench warmers, whoever you have, the backup reserve, get them ready. Because again, chances are I have Georgia to go undefeated and play for the SEC championship game, but it gets very tough because you're going to play Alabama most likely. But the trap game, if you look at that schedule, other than Oregon game, Kentucky, don't count them out. Probably Tennessee will be a trap game too. But that's the only team I'm going to hang up by saying that Georgia is one of the teams that I see is likely to go undefeated. Alabama, I have Alabama to lose to Tennessee. If they go down against Ole Miss, I would not be surprised. Thank you so much for taking my call. I know I do a lot of talking. I got to cut it out right now. God bless you guys.
Hey, appreciate it. AC and Ben actually said he thought Stetson Bennett should have been in New York last year. I know you said that about halfway through the season. You said, look, the way he is playing, he doesn't get a lot of the pub as a Bryce Young and some of the other guys will get, but he's guiding the ship. He's doing a lot of number of things. I actually think, AC, some of the points you brought up, I don't see Tennessee beating Alabama. I mean, haven't done it for 15 years, so I will vote Alabama until Tennessee actually does it. I mean, as BJ would say, statistically, it's got to happen at some point, but Stetson Bennett, I think, very much could be a Heisman Trophy finalist. Ben, again, I think you isolate some of the big games on the schedule: Oregon, Florida, and Auburn, that I say national folks would pay attention to. And then if Kentucky is highly ranked when you play them, I have a big game there. Again, if you have big games at key moments, I think Stetson will be a Heisman Trophy finalist. Now, as you said, the schedule's relatively easy for Georgia. They got a few trap games there, but if they get by Oregon, Ben, I think there's a great chance they can run the table in the regular season here in 2022 because I think they're just better than most everybody they're going to play.
Yeah, look, I think AC makes a great point. The thing about Stetson Bennett is, I mean, he's always been the part. Now, some way, Kevin, some way, shape, or form, he has to look the part nationally. When I say look the part, I mean he's a defending national champion. He was the MVP of both the college football playoff and the national championship. He was on the number 1 team all season last year, only losing to Alabama in the SEC championship. And he's almost the same size, height and size as Bryce Young. Problem is, Bryce Young plays for Alabama, won the Heisman. And Kevin, the thing about him surging up is, okay, just like we got a preseason top 25, there's a preseason Heisman list already, right? CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and, Caleb Williams. And, you already know who's at the top. Is he gonna put up big numbers? Of course. Is Georgia gonna be hard to beat? Absolutely. But unless people just start looking at him differently, it's almost like this wouldn't be far-fetched. There's a young man at West Virginia named JT Daniels. You know he's gonna put up big numbers, Kevin, because they just throw the rock at West Virginia. I can see him getting a Heisman nod. Now it's gonna be because it's individual play and not necessarily because West Virginia is just beating up everybody, but no, I do agree with AC. I think that a guy like Stetson Bennett, if we looking at blind taste tests, we're not coming in with any biases. Stetson Bennett would be one of them. But because, Kevin, you know that is not how college football works. That is not. It's, hey man, either we like you, we validate everything you do, or we don't like you, try to invalidate everything you do, even in the midst of you doing it. So Stetson's like, look, man, I'm gonna go out here, control I can control. I'm gonna try to, we're gonna beat the brakes off of most teams we play this year. Yes, Tennessee's gonna be better. Kentucky's gonna be good. Florida's gonna be, much improved. And out in Auburn, I mean, who knows? Outside of Tank Bigsby, I don't even know who their quarterback is right now, as far as who's going to be that stable one at the quarterback position. But yes, Stetson Bennett is the epitome of what college football is. A guy who grew up wanting to be a Bulldog, put up big time numbers in high school. Two or three star athlete, didn't get recruited by Georgia. Georgia can't seem to find a quarterback. Oh, what's up, Stetson? You want to come back on campus? Yeah, and they put a bunch of people in front of him, a bunch of people. And I just think that now, Kevin, they just realizing I've been surrounded by 5 stars since I came out of high school, and I've been better than all of them. Because that room is full of great players. They just ain't better than Stetson. And Stetson has been the most reliable player and most important player for Georgia the last 3 seasons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, prove me wrong. But yeah, AC, man, great. But AC, once again, somewhere, AC, I think your real name is Captain Obvious, because you are saying things that everybody knows. Stetson Bennett is going to be good. Okay. Georgia's probably going to go undefeated. They did it last year. I mean, give me something like, hey, man, Vanderbilt starting off 1-0, people should be nervous. No, that's a take. The take of the weekend is, I think, Desmond Howard. I got to go back and check who he said was going to be in the college football playoff. It was something ridiculous. I'm gonna make sure, Kevin. I'm gonna look this up. But Desmond Howard's college football playoff, it was on a level of, Tom Brady got voted the number 1 player in the NFL top 100 over Aaron Donald, stuff like that. Which he should be in the top 10. But Desmond Howard said some blasphemous stuff. It was like, and that's the thing, right? When's the last time that people that are on television making good money? Why? You don't have to do that. Like, seriously, Desmond Howard's trying to go viral. Desmond Howard that won the Heisman. Desmond Howard that was Super Bowl MVP, saying crazy stuff. But yes, Kevin. Sorry, AC though.
Yeah,
AC, I love you, but newsflash, Georgia's going to be good. Stetson Bennett's going to be good.
Yeah, look, and again, going up against Bo Nix in game number 1. I don't know why. Well, I say that. Dan Lanning hasn't named Bo Nix officially the starter. I think Kirby Smart came out and said, look, I don't care if they name a starter or not. We know who's going to start. You think Bo Nix, a kid from Georgia who went to Auburn, all of a sudden wants to go to Oregon and he's not going to play? Yeah, that's not how that works. Right? I mean, but Ben, why are coaches so secretive with this garbage? Like, it's week 1 and getting a college coach to release a depth chart is like pulling teeth, man. It's like, no. Maybe this guy will play. And maybe this guy will play. It's like Jim Harbaugh out here like, hey, we're going to start one guy in game 1 and going to start another guy in game 2. Like, why, with all the data that we have, with all the stuff that's out there, we swap film. We can see film on YouTube, even if you don't want to give it to us. Like, why are coaches so reluctant just to say this guy's the starter? Like, is it going to make that much difference? No.
It's not. And the thing is, too, this notion of, we want them prepared for 2 quarterbacks. They're not preparing for 2 quarterbacks. Like, and I don't get this coaching stuff they do now. Like,
but isn't your scheme basically the same, even with the backup quarterback?
I mean, I want to put in the guy that gives us the most, opportunity to run most of the offense, right? Not this other stuff. And that's why Desmond Ridder is the backup in Atlanta, because him and Marcus Mariota are very similar, right? Josh Rosen, you don't fit the bill, sir. That's why you're on team like number 5 in 5 years. But Kevin, I have found it. Here is. I know we talked about Vandy. I know we talked about Scott Frost. I know we talked about Florida State in week 0. Desmond Howard, this is his Final Four. This is his Final Four in his college football playoff. SEC champion, Texas A&M. Right? Plays the ACC champion, Pitt. Number 3, the Big 12 champion, Baylor. And who do you think he had to pick to win the Big Ten? I'll give you one guess.
Penn State?
Nope.
Ohio State? Michigan?
Michigan.
Oh, well.
So his Final Four.
If that happens, Desmond needs to move
his
to
Final
Vegas.
Four, Texas A&M, Pitt, Michigan, and Baylor, which means Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State do not make the college football playoff. Let me tell you something, Desmond. You know,
It could happen,
It could happen.
but not probably.
it
Yeah.
could happen. But Michigan, that was hard for him to pick. Where did he go to college? Michigan. How long did that take? No. Look, do I want variety? Yes. Do I want chaos like that, Kevin? Yes. Because the only way we're gonna know that the national championship doesn't matter anymore when stuff like this happens. Like Alabama winning it all the time, and a southeastern either a southeastern conference team's winning or a team in the southeast winning, aka Clemson. So because those teams are winning it, people have gotten bored. People are like, all right, well, let's do something crazy, like Pitt. Hey, yeah, but the college football playoff, man, Pitt, Baylor. Texas A&M, and them boys from Michigan. But guess what? But I know why you're really doing this, Desmond. Let me go ahead and tell you this. Michigan still ain't gonna win it all. You think because Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State in it, y'all still not gonna win it all? The last thing we want to see is Pitt go from winning the ACC in 2021 and winning the Natty in 2022. That might be the reason why Notre Dame says we're gonna come over to the ACC. And Greg Sankey go, dang it. We just missed out on that money. Because Kevin, we know what this is about, man. Let's stop it. That's when I like it, but all I got to say is there's two things. Lee Corso, love you, man. It might be time to just, move on to something else. If you saw, love Corso. But to me, right, that, like Kevin, we always say this. How long is too long? Like, when is the time to, and Kevin, they put him, he's on the set by himself. And I don't know what Corso is talking about, but it's like, hey, man, give him a exit package with a bunch of cheese. Because Kevin, come on, Kevin, if that's me up there, no.
Can Lee come do the show with us?
Hell yeah, Lee can come through. Lee gonna say, "What do you want me to say, guys? Whatever you want." Now we ain't got no mascot heads to put on. We ain't got that. But I'm just saying, to me, don't do him like that. Don't. Why is he upset by himself? By the way, where is everybody at?
I don't know. It's kind of like
I'm not going out there with him. I'm not doing.
Kind of like Dick Clark's rocking New Year's Eve. The last year he was out there, you're like, man, you felt bad for him. Like, hey, you're an iconic guy, and they're like running out there, and you're like, obviously in bad shape. I agree. I understand
behind the scenes, they had some meetings. They said, dude, we don't need to do it. He says, no, this is what it was. They're having a meeting on the day of.
I mean, Lee Corso wants to do it.
Somebody said, and while y'all talking, he done walked out there. What? He's on the look.
He's out there already.
He's out there saying, welcome back. It ain't welcome back.
We got more to come here. It is 3 and Out. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio, 912-342-7184. Love to hear from you here on 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back on this Monday. A lot of college football talk still to come here on the show. Matt Smith, SouthernPigskin.com. He will join us. We'll talk some college football with him. And Ben, the Braves over the weekend, they lose 2 of 3 to St. Louis. 3 games back of the Mets. They got a day off today. A lot of people felt you let 2 slip away. Kenley Jansen blows one in horrific fashion on Saturday night, and then A.J. Minter pitching 3 days in a row. Lets one get away on Sunday with a home run late. How do you shake that kind of stuff off when, you know, this thing obviously is going to come down to maybe a game or 2 games at the end of the year?
I think, Kevin, it happens. I think what happens when it comes to, you know, that meme that goes out every time, you know, the Braves win, the guy go, the Braves don't lose. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes we forget they're going up against really good. I mean,
they're not going to go 50-0.
Yeah, like the Cardinals are just like pusher. They're a good baseball team as well. It's just the thing about the Braves, or maybe it's just a theme in baseball this year, Kevin. Why is it when you see 6-3, 6-2, you don't turn it. Don't turn your dial. Because it seems like this year in scoring in baseball, it happens in 1 inning, man. They had a 4-run inning or what may have you, but give the Cardinals a lot of credit. I mean, the Braves are still the barometer. The Braves are still the defending world champs. The people are still like looking at how well their team plays or played when they go up against the Braves. I get it when they lost, you know, game 2 and people are, oh, this game you thought they should have won. But the Braves are still in the thick of things. They still, you know, keeping tabs on those pesky Mets. You still got, I mean, the season is coming, and the season is coming down to the wire, which we know, which people here, like I said, it amazes me every year, Kevin. You go, dude, it's 162, but don't get caught up in the number. It's going to take every single game. It'd be amazing. The team that win the division, they won it by, you know, a half a game. They won it by a game. It's never, you know, going away with it. So shout out to the Cardinals for, you know, for not tucking their tails and running, making, you know, a winning 2 out of 3. The Braves, I mean, once again, Kevin, I'm just happy that they're not, you know, losing series, 0-3 or. I know the old Bobby Cox just win series.
Yeah.
You win series, I mean, you got a really good chance to be good. But, hey, man, shout out to the Cardinals, get it done. The Braves let one get away from them. I think you dusted off. If you haven't found a way to deal with winning and losing by this time with the Braves, I mean, what you did in the month of June saves your season. Like, let's just call it what it is. Because, Kevin, you know just like I know, June could have been, man, remember in June? Yeah, that's it. It's like the Mets just trying to play the rest of the games. Now, right. What they did in June and July, and to me, that's what it is every year. 2020? Last year, it was win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win the World Series. Right? 3 years ago, it was, hey, man, we got the most eventful baseball after the 6th inning. Why? Because we got a chance to win in the bottom of the 8th, and that bullpen, if it can happen, it will happen with them. But they found a way, Kevin, to win the division last 4 years. It's going to be tough this year. I mean, I guess the DeGrom, Scherzer, you know, pairing is working right now for the Mets, but the Mets are nervous. They can call it what they want to call it because they're not used to being in this position at this current juncture in the season.
Sure. How
do they deal with it? But the Braves, they're not used to, you know, they used to being in the thick of things. We'll see what happens, you know, in the month of September. It's going to be eventful no matter what.
Yeah.
But the Braves did this. The Braves said, which I don't know if they said this, if we can't be in first, let's be first, at least in the wild card, which – I mean, most teams,
which they're way ahead in that. So, I think the whole key is put pressure on the Mets to win ball games, and you know, say what they want. Mets fans are awfully chatty when the Braves lose. That's fine. Well, I mean, they are. It's fine. That's fine. And you can say, look, the Braves are putting pressure on the Mets to go out and close out games and win games and come back in dramatic fashion as well. And I think that's what, if you're a Braves team, you want to stay close enough to make them feel that pressure to go earn it, right? To come down the stretch and go earn it. And that's all you can do. I mean, at this point, you got 3 games head-to-head with the Mets. That's it. So outside of that, you really don't have any control over what they do night in and night out. But if you stay within 2 games, maybe get it down to a game. You put the pressure on the Mets that, hey, you've got to show up and win. And in baseball, that's impossible to do, right? You can't win every single game. I think what hurts for Braves fans is the Mets lose and you lose. Mets win, you win. So there haven't been a lot of, hey, we won on a day that the Mets lost and really made up some ground. But yeah, the way they got away from you in St. Louis, you feel like this is a team that still had a chance to sweep the Cardinals and have a chance to do some good stuff come postseason. They let it slip away. Again, Kenley Jansen, people all over him. Look, I appreciate that. He's not going to be perfect. I saw this. Oh, now I see why the Dodgers let him go. And maybe it's like he'd been one of the best in baseball up until that moment. And he had a bad night. All right. If you want to fault Brian Snitker, as I said, sometimes to me, he's too by the book, and I'm going to go with this guy. And sometimes they just don't have it. And I think that's an example of Kenley Jansen. Last night, AJ Minter, 3 days in a row, pitching, probably not going to have it in a clutch situation like that down the stretch. Maybe you don't read it the room as much as you should, as opposed to just, hey, this is my guy. I'm going with him. So, look, I think the Braves will be fine. They're so far up in the wild card right now. That feels pretty good. I think you just keep grinding and try to track down the Mets as best you can and put the pressure on them to win. Right now, there's pressure on the Braves to win. Put the pressure on the Mets to go out there and win as well.
Yeah, and what I always found to be quite quite telling, Kevin, is if somebody said, well, this is why you got rid of him for the Dodgers. Seriously? Like, do you know how good Kenley Jansen is? Like, seriously? Like, go back to how great those Dodgers teams were and show me how many times Kenley Jansen has something to do with it. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Kenley Jansen, who's won a World Series with the Dodgers and the Braves. That Kenley Jansen, and it's almost like, we looking for perfection in sports. It doesn't happen. The best baseball player, who I think is still hurt, and Mike Trout, has been to the playoffs once. Just imagine if you're an Angels fan. Dude, we get Ohtani, we get Trout for the regular season. That's it. Like, that's it. I'm sorry, but what the Angels are in LA is what the Mets are in New York. It's bad. People are, where's Anaheim? LA. That's how bad they are. They call them something different. That is Los Angeles, people. I don't know where it is in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is huge. But Kenley Jansen, I'd rather have him than not have him. Because once again, Kevin,
I think he's going to be a weapon come postseason for sure.
Say, look, and the thing about it is that's why, once again, Twitter cannot be where I get my source of news, or it's going to be rough, because people, that's why they got rid of him.
Another guy that was frustrating Braves fans last year, Will Smith. Come postseason, he was unhittable.
And Kevin, I was going to say that you said that from the time the Braves got Will Smith, you go, they are getting him for the postseason. Fortunately, he can't just wait he can't just go home and see y'all in October.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
But he was on another level. He's dialed
in. Once again, when we get to talking about Braves who gonna be remembered forever, I know we want to do Rosario. I know we want to do Soler. I know we want to do Peterson. Will Smith was lights out, and I get it. We like, well, what happened? Well, dude, I'm sorry. A bunch of games during the regular season doesn't really amount to, hey man, I need you for the series. But hey, man, I guess when you are a Braves fan, let's call it, Kevin, we are spoiled.
Yes, we are.
That's how we act.
We got more to come here on this Monday. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. just so legendary every single time here on the show. Kevin and Ben, glad you're making us a part of your day. We'll talk to Matt Smith, southernpigskin.com, about week 1. I think week 0, Ben, it is what it is. It gave us football, which I know some of y'all is like, I like to say football is a drug, and some of y'all were tweaking because y'all were like, oh, man, I get to watch Vandy, Hawaii, and I got Utah State, and who was it they were playing? UConn. I'm like, bro, if you are getting hype about Utah State, UConn right now, you are jonesing for some football in the worst way.
What is this, Kevin? Now, why is it when a team like UConn wins a game? Why do I hear is UConn back? What are we talking about?
No, nobody says that.
If UConn,
Ben, nobody says that.
If UConn's basketball coach comes out and says we're a basketball school, that is correct because they are. Now, the whole thing with the fact that John Calipari said we're a basketball school at Kentucky, and somebody said, well, if Mark Stoops win the national championship, he had the same amount as you. He's like, what you say? Well, he would. But I think that, Kevin, this is what college football does to people. Like we can have a college football show called "What's Wrong with Us?" because it's serious. Like this. Kevin, when you look straight, you'll see why I just bust out. Just look straight. He is ready. Anyway,
sorry.
Anyway, all I'm saying is, Kevin, college football. The hardest thing for us as college football fans is to make it through the offseason, right? But then we realize how crazy college football is because do you think that even on social media, anything that has college in it comes through your timeline? Like if it says college, anything. Because I've experienced so many other fan bases in week 0. But Kevin, what I'm getting prepared to do is it's like a lady says. She says, my therapist told me that you watch too much college football. And someone said, well, you don't have a therapist. Uh-oh.
Well, we got plenty of that on the way. College football. We'll get into that and take 3. Matt Smith next hour as well. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you here. Hour 2, 3 and out. Kevin and Ben, glad you're making us a part of your day. Streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. Also, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can follow us along there with live video and across the radio network here for the next 3 days as we count it down towards the final shows here of 3 and out. 912-342-7184. 912-342-7184. You can call us, chat with us here on the show, or send us a note at Pigskin Radio there on Twitter or Facebook, YouTube. Note, they'll all get to us here on the show. Ben, let's take 3 here on 3 and out. All right, take 1. We are into real college football week here. I'm not meaning to disrespect everybody who played in week 0, but the rest of us waited, and now we're ready for real college football. Who, Ben, should be on upset alert the most here in week 1?
Ooh. I would say this. I know that LSU has LSU and Florida State,
right?
I think LSU should be very nervous. This is why. I know Florida State already had a game. I'm still trying to process what you was reading that Brian Kelly was saying. They got an advantage.
Yeah, Brian Kelly said it's kind of an advantage for Florida State because they've played a game already. And it's kind of an advantage for us because we haven't played yet. I don't know what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this about Brian Kelly.
Maybe it was that new accent. It came out differently than what he was trying to say.
Yeah. The northeastern and the deep south is kind of like meeting in the middle. But I think it's LSU because number one, Kevin, they've gone through a quarterback carousel. They got talent, but the thing about LSU is real similar to NC State. Like LSU could be the NC State of the SEC. They are good enough to beat anybody. And they'll lose a game they shouldn't lose. I think LSU should be on upset alert because it is their first game. It is the Brian Kelly era, is among us. And you really don't know what that means. You really don't. There is not stability at the quarterback position. You do have, but you losing guys like Eli Ricks, to the transfer portal. Derek Stingley Jr.'s moved on to the National Football League. I know you got Ojulari. I know you got certain players, but there's a big question mark next to LSU. LSU is not going to lack talent. LSU lacks stability. LSU lacks identity. And the thing about Florida State, they're going to run the ball. And it's on I guess you want to call it a neutral site, in the Superdome in New Orleans. So I would go LSU because Kevin, just like I know, I just told you the top 10 highest paid coaches. Well, 2 of them in the SEC West. Nick Saban is 1, Kirby Smart is 2, and Brian Kelly is 3. He hasn't coached a down, and he's the number 3. So people go, why do you leave Notre Dame? That's why you leave. You left for that right there. I'm the 3rd highest paid coach. So for me, I think it is LSU because, Kevin, just like I know, LSU, they're still living in 2019. They still thinking we could just get us a Joe Burrow just like everybody else want a Nick Saban. It ain't happening. And once again, LSU go out. Nick Saban's name is Brian Kelly. Huh. Well, we'll see. But for my money, I think it's going to be LSU because it is week 1 for them. At least, yes, FSU went up against a very inferior opponent. But Kevin, just like I know, nothing helps a team more than confidence. And if you Florida State, you already know we ain't really got no passing game. We couldn't throw the ball against our week 0 opponent. So I go LSU.
I'm going to say, and again, you can call me crazy and say, I don't think this could be a potential upset. I'm going to say South Carolina. South Carolina is at home against Georgia State. Georgia State.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, Georgia State has
the same Georgia State that beat Tennessee a couple of years ago.
Right. And so there might be people say, well, that's not really an upset. But I mean, if I'm a Sun Belt team and I'm beating an SEC school, that's an upset. I don't except maybe at State against certain teams like Vanderbilt or something like that. But South Carolina, a lot of people think they could have a big resurgence here this year. They won 7 games last year, getting another year here with Shane Beamer. But I think Georgia State might have a chance to get them in week number 1. Got a quarterback coming back that was very successful for them. Georgia State played well down the stretch last year. Have a lot of those guys coming back. And to me, Ben, week 1 in college football is the most unpredictable week you will get, right? Because there's no fresh tape on people. There's no tape of new coaches and what exactly they're going to do at new places like Dan Lanning. If you're Georgia, you're like, hey, we know what Dan likes to do. Does that mean he's going to do it exactly the same way now that he's in charge there at Oregon? Maybe not. So I think week 1 to me provides the best chance for upsets. I say Georgia State over South Carolina. I said this last week, but I think Georgia, if you're going to get them, this might be the week to do it if you're Oregon. Bo Nix, SEC level quarterback, Dan Lanning, intimately familiar with what Georgia's personnel is, what they like to do. I know people are like, oh, well, that stuff doesn't matter. I think it matters a little. Your guys still have to go out and make plays, right? You still have to execute what Dan Lanning calls, but you can't tell me after spending some time with, Monken and Kirby Smart that he has no idea what they like to do in certain situations. Not that they're going to do it 100%, but he didn't have an idea of how they like to use personnel, how they like to. Of course he does. So I think that's a little bit of an advantage for Dan Lanning. Now, where he's at a disadvantage is Georgia leads big on the talent gap. But I think that's going to be interesting. So mine was Georgia State and South Carolina. To me, the biggest chance for an upset. All right, Ben, which new coach are you most – I'm going to make a caveat that you can't say Billy Napier. Mm-hmm. Which new coach are you most intrigued to watch coach game one here this week?
Oh, man.
And I'm not going to let you say Billy Napier.
That's easy. That's easy. That's Coach Freeman at Notre Dame. I think what has gotten lost in this, Kevin, is the fact that Coach Freeman is a guy. Yes. African-American coach at Notre Dame. But you know how it is, Kevin. Usually they don't hire from within. They'll take the previous coaching staff. They get rid of everybody. But it's something to say, coaching at Notre Dame is prestigious. But big shoes to fill. Because I just saw something on social media. Lou Holtz said that he sent Brian Kelly 8 letters of encouragement while he was at Notre Dame. Never got it. He said, I used to check my mailbox every day, never seen anything back. I said, dude, that's crazy. Coach Freeman, I think, is under the most scrutiny because, Kevin, let's face it, Notre Dame is the one brand that we don't need conferences. We got our own network. We stand alone. And you know how it is, Kevin, until Coach Freeman proves it, they want to say, hey, man, is he the guy? So I think that Coach Freeman is under a lot of pressure because of the biggest brand in college football. I know everybody thinks their college and university is the biggest brand. It's Notre Dame. You don't got to like it.
And 7:30, they got Ohio State right off the jump.
And that's the thing, too, Kevin. I will say this about week one. It used to be you got a couple of games, right? It is stacked. I wish that, my alma mater would have did 1 o'clock so I can, go to bed. No, they want to go at 7. 69% chance of rain. But that's a guarantee. I said, listen, football guy, could you rain everywhere but over the stadium? No, probably going to just camp out right over the stadium. Going to be a monsoon. But I think Coach Freeman, Notre Dame, right out the gate, Kevin, Kevin, think about that. I know I said that, the former Notre Dame coach, Brian Kelly, is on upset alert. If the new guy and Coach Freeman beats Coach Day in Ohio State, Notre Dame, we're going to the chip. I don't know about all that, even though I do got them picked in my college football playoff, 1 of 14. Because I think that, Kevin, even if they lose to Ohio State and they run the table, they got a shot to get in. But if they win it, they still got a chance to have a loss later on down the line and still get in because I think they've won that benefit of the doubt because they are Notre Dame.
You mentioned it earlier. I'm going to say the guy I'm most interested in watching, new coach at a new spot. I was going to say Mario Cristobal, but I'm going to save that because they're playing Bethune-Cookman. No disrespect, but I think we'll find out more about that. I'm interested to watch Brian Kelly because people think just because he was at Notre Dame and he was the winningest coach at Notre Dame that you're going to walk in and you're going to win 10, 11 games right off the jump at LSU. Now, he might, but you are starting with a very interesting Florida State team. Again, Florida State played Duquesne. It was a walk in the park, and you may say, well, that's no big deal. And it probably isn't. But there's, as for good reason, been a couple of years in the past where that was a big deal for Florida State because they were losing games like that inexplicably or just not playing well in games like that. So I'm interested to see, Brian Kelly comes down, Notre Dame, I want to come here with my family. And I'm going to say, I can't wait to eat Cajun food and all that stuff. Still got to win games at LSU. And I want to see what does that LSU team look like coming right out of the chute.
And if I know we're going to get to, take you, but if I have a 1B, I would go Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's under a lot of pressure now because, but that's the thing though, Kevin. We could have did that. Former coaches and current coaches. And Lincoln Riley, USC, Coach Venables at Oklahoma. Because, dude, I'm telling you, sir, USC, we got to see it first. Oklahoma, they want to see if our structure is so good that maybe what Bob Stoops built, Lincoln Riley just kept it going. Can they do that with Venables? Because all I'm saying is these former players that go back to their alma maters, Steve Spurrier got y'all tripping. Kirby Smart got y'all tripping. Because Kirk Frost Scott Frost,
yeah.
that stuff is hard to do. And I get it, you're not going to turn it down, Kevin, but they're going to forget all about your player legacy. They will forget all about it because it's going to become what you didn't do for us when you came back here making millions of dollars as the head guy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch some of those guys in their debuts here in 2022 with their new clubs. All right, Ben, moving along, take 3. Today is National Sports Day, amongst other things. What is your favorite non-major sport? So take off all the major sports. What is your favorite sport once you get away from those?
Track. It's simple. Like, as a person that I'm talking about
World records.
No, I ain't doing that. Way back in the day. When you boy was, little young squire, used to run for the Road Runner Track Club. Shout out to Eugene Lee Jr. and Senior. Junior being the anchor leg in the 4x1 100-meter relay. Kevin, it's a sport that you can't hide. The first time I ever got to go to Georgia Tech was not to play against the Yellow Jackets, even though I never played against them. Was to go to the Georgia games when I ran AAU track. AAU track gave me just like AAU basketball, or Kevin, as you know, when it comes to the baseball circuit, you all over the South at a certain point. Once you keep going up, I got a chance to see certain parts of the country, man. I got a chance to go, to Maryland. I got a chance to go out of the state to Alabama. I got a chance to go to Gainesville, Florida when I was 12 years old. It becomes a sport, Kevin, to where Man on Fire, when the part on there with Denzel Washington tells a young girl, listen, the gun will set you free. When he goes, pow, that's it. Like, you can't hide. All that trash talking. What blew my mind is this. When I was 12 years old, I will never forget this. I made it to the Nationals. It was held in Gainesville for the long jump and the 4x100 meter relay. I wasn't doing the triple jump yet. It was the 4x100 meter qualifying. And we got to say, first call, second call, third call for 11 to 12-year-old 4x100 meter relay. We in the line. It's me, Gavin Willingham, David Gilchrist, and Eugene Lee. Kevin, I get in this line. The guy next to me, he got muscles, and he has a mustache. He had like a goatee. Took me 20-something years to grow one. It freaked me out because I'm looking like, you in the wrong line, bro. Like, he looked like he had been lifting weights at work, and he looking at me. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, like, he had like hair on his chest. What is this? Craziness. And that's when I realized, so we go and we run or whatever. So we get back up to the stairs. My coach go, yeah. You gonna go? He said this. You gonna go to bed at the right time. Now it's not gonna help me look like that, like going to bed at that time. But no, man, I will say it's always been track for me because the sprint, the 100, the 200, the 400, the 800, the 4x1, the 4x4, the sprint medley. I've just always been a fan of it, and so when I see what Grant Holloway does, or Devin Allen does, or Noah Lyles do, or Usain Bolt, or the greats, it just makes me be in awe because I know it ain't but too many people on this planet can run under 10 seconds in the 100.
That's true.
That is. So, and listen, and I know we used to have an office.
No, there's like 50 people in the world, and like 4 of them were in this office.
Oh, I can run a 4.4. We need to stop that too. Like we need to stop doing. Hey man, that dude only ran a 4.6, and listen. If you want to know how fast people really are, when Rich Eisen runs his 40 at the end of the combine, they let him start. They let him get halfway through the 40 before another guy even take off, and he still gets beat. 4.4s and 4.5s and 4.6s. What's the word I'm looking for? Rare. Like, I don't know, being 6'6" and 6'7". Stop it. Man, I can run a 4.4. Man, we should have been sponsored by Baby Powder because we would have ran out. Slapping all y'all. Kevin go, we run a Kevin, look at you run a 4.4. Yeah. Okay.
I ran a 4.4.
Ran a 4.4 just walk off like normal coming. Ran a 4.4.
4 second, 4 yard. But anyway, no. That was one of the more astounding things that we had. Again, and it would be one thing if like one person did it, Ben. We had like a bunch of people that worked here. They were like, we were just talking and we were like, oh, you used to play high school football. Yeah. And how fast did you run? Oh man, I was like 4, 5, 7. No, you were not. Because if you were, you probably would have been playing college football. Not saying you would have been in the SEC, but you might have been somewhere.
Yeah.
4, 5,
so all
7.
you people that are impressed by nothing, you need to reevaluate your life.
So that's why we always say we have the fastest office in America, bar none.
Yep.
We got more of sub 4.66 guys that have come through the door here than you wouldn't believe.
Instead of just saying, I don't know. Just, man, what's your best day? My best day? Yeah, 4.38.
And my favorite, BJ's favorite comeback to all the interns and, part-time folks and other people that come in here talking about how they could run 4.5s. He would always look at Ben and say, you see Ben? And they were like, yeah, Ben was a professional athlete. Ben played in the NFL. And Ben didn't run 4.5.
No, that's
how are you going to run 4.5?
No, I'm not doing it. Like if
Ben trained every day to go out and run fast.
Listen, that's back when I had no children, no responsibilities, nothing. That 4.6, I was so proud of that. It was like, it's almost like people trying to make you feel bad. It's as if to say, well, what Kyle Pitts did and what Vernon Davis did is rare. Like, they'll say, you only ran a 4.6? What are you talking about, boy? That's wearing nothing but boxer briefs and some cleats and getting out of there. Yeah. You're trying to make me feel bad. You better get up out of here with that nonsense, man.
I think Ben could probably beat me by 4 seconds in a 40-yard dash right now. No, I would say, I guess, golf's always been one that I would kind of tune and check in on. I like auto racing a lot. Yeah. That's one I used to be.
You like what's the crazy sports they do on SportsCenter?
Oh, they do a lot of those.
The Ocho.
Oh, yeah, I like a lot of those. But I'm saying, like, I used to watch NASCAR a lot. Like every race, I was into it. PJ Zuko was into
like wrestling one of them.
I mean, it is entertaining.
You smell. I used to love wrestling.
I did watch that a lot too. Probably more than I care to admit.
What's the event that you want to do? What's the event that you want? It's called the skeleton or something.
Oh yeah, the skeleton.
Kevin's like this. Kevin any final words? I just want to say to my children, to my wife, I love y'all.
Face first down a sheet of ice.
No, Kevin, like I want the one that if it's the hill on the bottom of the hill, it's nothing but water. Cause I'm going off this hill.
Maybe. Just tell me how to stop. That's all I need to know. Or if I don't know how to stop, like, look, this is a true story. When I was, growing up in Atlanta in the wintertime, sometimes we'd go on ski trips and we would go skiing, and I was horrible. I'm from Georgia. What do I know about skiing? So when you start going down a hill and you start going a little too fast and you feel like you can't stop, you just fall down and take it and suck it up. Yeah. So skeleton, you're going slightly faster. So if I got down close to the bottom and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop this thing, I would try my best to slow down, and then I would just do this is going to hurt and just jump off and just flop off the sled and just slide down.
Yeah, but you also weren't going at speeds of, I don't know, 60, 70.
I don't know. It felt like I was when I was going on them skis. I was like, this is not the thing for me. You get up there in the North Carolina mountains and it's like, hey, oops, I went down the wrong way and now I'm on the Black Diamond and it's straight down. Just fall down. One ski goes flying. You have to crawl back up the mountain like a loser to go get it.
I don't know what Fast and the Furious it is. I think it's like Fast and Furious, like number 6 or 7. Remember when they just went down the hill, he made like they was around. He made like the big old wind tunnel, the dirt tunnel. He just went down the hill. I need that reinforced, Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious still, because I'm going off this hill. Kevin said, I want to be the skeleton.
Yeah.
I mean, they call it the skeleton.
I will say this. I would, one of those skiing trips, like you got off the lift bucket at the top and, you just stand up. If you don't stand up, you got to jump off the bucket or ride it back down. But so you stand up. So on this particular mountain, you get up, you kind of circle around, and then you go down a little trail. And then when you take a turn to the left, you go down a little trail, it turns back to the right. And then you can either go straight across and come down the intermediate side, or you could just jump on and go down the expert side. Well, I was behind a guy that went on the trip with us, and we come to around the left off the ski lift, and he goes, oh, I can't stop. And goes straight over the side into the woods. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? You got to know how to stop.
See?
You got to know how to stop at the end of the day. But that's take 3. We do it each and every day. This time we've got more to come. Matt Smith going to join us when we come back. We're talking college football. It's 3 now on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back. Here it is, 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along. Week 1 is here. Week 0 in the rearview mirror, although it didn't offer us a whole lot. Our next guest certainly is going to have a lot to weigh in on here on college football as it gets started. Matt Smith, southernpigskin.com, joins us. Matt, welcome, man. How are you?
Hey, guys. Doing pretty well. Excited to head to New York this weekend for a wedding on Saturday, but probably don't want to talk about that during this conversation.
Matt, you've had some strange luck the last couple of years with this. I mean, this is, as a Notre Dame alum, it's Notre Dame, Ohio State. Are you sneaking the phone in the lap while the ceremony's going on? Like, how are you planning for this?
I have some plans in the works to make sure I account for everything. Should be a nice break in the afternoon for Oregon, Georgia, I guess Cincinnati, Arkansas as well. So we'll make do with technology in 2022. There's no excuse not to make do and see what needs to be seen on Saturday while still being a good friend. So it'll all come together nicely, I'm sure.
Now, man, what if somebody says something that is just blatantly inaccurate? Like, guys, after the wedding, we at the reception, and somebody just makes up a stat about, I don't know, a said SEC or Notre Dame team. If you sitting at the table, do you let them keep going, or do you go, actually, that's inaccurate? They actually had 10 wins. Is that going to be what you're doing? Do you say, look, I'm gonna just let them go through their inaccuracies, or do the BJ Bennett jump on you and say, listen, that's factually inaccurate what you just said?
Oh, boy. Probably depends if I'm drinking beer or liquor.
I guess whichever one is flowing.
I like to correct people as much as possible. I'm a big proponent of facts, so I prefer facts to be correct, even if I have to jump in and look like a jackass. So I will do the dirty work if need be.
Matt Smith joining us here at 3 and Out. All right, Matt, to the games on the field. I mean, I know in Nashville, everyone is all aglow because Vanderbilt scored 63 points against Hawaii. But let's look ahead to this week, where you have obviously some interesting matchups. Let's start there, Georgia and Oregon. Dan Lanning, I don't know how much of an advantage it'll be him kind of knowing what Georgia likes to do. He's at a talent gap. But if you're going to get Georgia, wouldn't week 1 be maybe the best time to try to get him here in 2022?
Yeah, I think so. And familiarity is kind of a theme, I guess, throughout a couple games this week, and not just in the SEC, but certainly have that, not only with Dan Lanning, but Georgia's seen Bo Nix 3 times now. I think Kirby probably played against Patrick Nix back a year or two in the 90s when I think their careers overlapped. So, yeah, I don't know how much stock or say who has an advantage. Obviously, Dan Lanning's seen Stetson Bennett in practice for years now. But I don't think there's any big secrets about Stetson Bennett's game or anything. So I'm really not trying to look at either side of that. I'd look at more just so much newness on both sides of the ball for Georgia and how that could be a factor as well. Oregon's lost a bunch as well. A couple good linebackers there. The spread seems a little high to me, so I think I'd take Oregon just because I expect some things that will need to be worked out here in the first couple weeks for Georgia won't quite be so seamless as it was for them a year ago there. So I thought that spread was a little high, given this Georgia offense, wasn't particularly explosive last year, and I don't think it will be, at least in the early stages this year. But as far as the Lanning, Nix familiarity angle, I don't necessarily see an advantage for either team. But if I'm making a bet, I think I'll take Oregon. Georgia wins maybe by 11 or so in a decent game, I think.
And, Matt, I mean, one of the most intriguing matchups is, LSU, Florida State. Florida State, gets a big win in week 1 to boost some confidence running the football. But all eyes are on LSU and Brian Kelly. I mean, the 3rd highest paid coach in college football hasn't coached it down yet at LSU, walked away from Notre Dame because obviously, that the expectations there are just through the roof. But he's coming to a place at LSU that all 3 coaches that preceded him won national championships, wrong and different. How do you see this LSU-Florida State matchup?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I guess another thing related to the Oregon-Georgia point about who has the advantage, another thing where I don't know whether to say Florida State has an advantage by playing an overmatched Duquesne team on Saturday, or if that hurts them by having some stuff on film now for LSU. So looking at that game, I'm not considering that Florida State has played the game and LSU hasn't. As for Kelly and what to expect from this program, they're going to win. The questions are just when and how big. Going back to his first year at Notre Dame, they certainly struggled coming out of the gate. I think they were 1-3, had some tough games, and I think the mindset around LSU last year was complete chaos. And I think there's some work to do there. He'll win eventually. I don't know if he's going to start ripping off SEC West titles as long as Nick Saban's in Tuscaloosa. but they're going to be successful and certainly more stable. And Sunday night, I don't know what to expect. I think the receiving corps for LSU is being overlooked. I thought they were good last year. Obviously, going 6-6, they didn't get a lot of love. But I think that passing game, I expect it's going to be Jaden Daniels. So adding his experience, his mobility as well, I think that gives LSU a pretty significant advantage there. I do have some concerns at the line of scrimmage for them, but I don't know if Florida State quite has the horses to exploit them. So I think LSU wins. I'd lay. I think it's a field goal now, playing in the Superdome. But again, I do expect some hiccups early on from this team. Once they get into SEC play with Mississippi State, Auburn, Tennessee, all coming up pretty quick. But I think they do take care of business on Sunday night in the Superdome.
Matt Smith, SouthernPigskin.com, joining us here on 3 and Out. And Matt, a kind of off the radar game considering some of the big matchups you do have, but Arkansas hosting Cincinnati, a team that was in the playoffs last year. Obviously, they lost a lot, but this is a top 25 matchup here. Arkansas 19, Cincinnati 23. You certainly look at what Sam Pittman has done here so far at Arkansas. Would this be a big kind of statement win early in 2022 if they even at home bump off Cincinnati?
Yeah, very interesting game, and I'm pretty high on Arkansas. I have them as the number 2 team in the SEC West in that cluster of 5 or 6 teams. I think will beat each other up pretty good throughout the season, but I like Arkansas with the experience of A.J. Jefferson and certainly probably the 2 best coordinators in the division with Odom, Kendall Briles. So I like Arkansas as a whole this season. As for this game, I think if you watch the NFL draft, first team you thought as, wow, they have a lot to replace next fall is Georgia. Number 2 might be Cincinnati. They had a ton of guys go early, and certainly they don't have the 5 stars in stock back room like Georgia has to deploy on Saturday. They got some work to do. They've recruited very well by G5, probably as well as any G5 team we've seen, but you just can't. It's not a reloading. There's definitely some rebuilding that needs to be done there, and I think playing this game in the first week, I think that certainly favors Arkansas. Playing at home, having a third-year starting quarterback in KJ Jefferson, I think they get by, but Cincinnati's a physical team, and Arkansas probably doesn't have a ton of athletes run by them like you might see against Alabama or like we saw in the playoff game last year. So I think it's a decent game, but with all that newness for Cincinnati, I think they'll struggle playing on the road in a tough environment. So Arkansas, I'll say by 10.
Man, my Florida Gators got a big one, on Saturday night in the Swamp. I mean, this Utah team comes in with a lot of firepower on offense, especially at the quarterback and tight end position. They got some run stoppers on the defense. Muhammad Diabate, a former Florida Gator, going to be, licking his chop, trying to get back at his former team. How do you see this game playing out? And if it seems to be, it might be rain in the forecast. Who do you think that favors?
I would think with bad weather, it probably favors Utah unless it's just so muggy where it's just nothing like they've ever seen. I'm not super worried about that with the Utah team and a guy like Kyle Whittingham. I don't think they'll be super fazed by that. I think for Florida, I think they need to find some ways where they can just out-athlete Utah. They're not going to win at the line of scrimmage. I think you pointed out, of course, Anthony Richardson, can he do a lot with his legs? See that speed that Utah probably doesn't see a ton of. Maybe some guys in the secondary making plays, whether it's a Trey Dean or a Jason Marshall, and then maybe Brenton Cox being a game wrecker off the edge. I think those are the 3 or 4 guys where if Florida can win this game, those guys really have to excel. I think Florida has a good September. I don't think they have a good Saturday night. I see wins coming against Kentucky and Tennessee. I think as we talked about earlier with Florida, I'm worried about their depth, so I actually like them earlier in the season than I do later in the season. But I think this Utah team flying high, just a massive game for the Pac-12 where you have your defending champion going up against a team that went, 2-6 in the SEC this year. They got to win this game. A lot of pressure on them, but I think they handle it well. The grizzled veteran Kyle Whittingham now in year 18, I think they go in and take care of business, but it should be a good game. It should be close. And if those few advantages, athleticism-wise, that Florida has can be exploited, I think they got a shot, but I think the Utes go in there and pull it off. But wins coming for the Gators in my mind, I think, against both Kentucky and Tennessee before the month comes to an end.
Matt, of the games we haven't mentioned, obviously a lot of, G5 games and others like that across the schedule this week. Who do you think's most susceptible to getting upset in the SEC this week?
Yeah, Mississippi State concerns me a little bit. I mean, they lost to Memphis last year. That was on the road. They're back at home. I'm not sure about their left tackle position, replacing a top 10 pick with a JUCO guy. We see JUCO guys come in and play right away at the skill positions, but JUCO linemen concern me. Seems like they generally need a year to get their body right before playing in the SEC. So I think that's one to watch in Starkville there. I don't really see a ton of others at risk, I would say. Missouri, I could see having a little bit of trouble with Louisiana Tech. New coach there was Sonny Cumbie, but they always seem to play Power 5 teams tough. Gave Mississippi State a scare last year, NC State as well. So maybe a little bit of trouble for Mizzou on Thursday there. I think that's about it. A couple other things to watch. A&M receiving core, I'd like to see what they look like. I think that'll be key for them this year, is finding some playmakers on the outside. Other than that, Tennessee should be fine. I think Kentucky will be fine even without Chris Rodriguez. They'll win the line of scrimmage. South Carolina, Georgia State's kind of interesting. Should be no fear for the Panthers after nearly beating Auburn last year. But as far as teams that I think could be an upset alert, I'd probably go with Missouri and Mississippi State as ones to watch.
And man, you just mentioned, Georgia State and South Carolina. Spencer Rattler, comes over from Oklahoma. They got big time aspirations for him, especially adding a run game and a more solid defense. But this Georgia State team, we're a couple of years removed from them going up to Tennessee, even though it's total different teams, total different years. They go to South Carolina. Could they put a scare in the game, Cobb?
Yeah, I forgot about the Tennessee call. That was a good one. It's a couple of years ago, so they probably got some guys that played in that game still on the roster. And as I mentioned, should have beaten Auburn down there last year. So yeah, and South Carolina again probably got more talent, but they're not just going to completely out athlete them. I think that's reflective in the point spread. I think being under 2 touchdowns, maybe 11, 12, 13. So I expect a good game. Sean Elliott's a good coach. Obviously will mean a lot to him going back to the place where he was the interim coach back after Steve Spurrier retired and coached there for a good bit. So that's definitely one to watch. I think South Carolina is stable enough now, they'll get through it, but I could see that game being a 60-minute, one-possession game. So I'll certainly be keeping an eye on that one as well.
Matt Smith joining us here on 3 and Out. Matt, you're there in Nashville. Clark Lee said we're going to be the best team in the country. Well, so far through one game, they have more wins than anybody else in the SEC in 2022.
Absolutely. That was it's baby steps. Even though Hawaii is really bad, that was impressive. Put up 60-some points. So they were nowhere close to that last year, even against bad teams, losing to Tennessee State, I believe, and having to have a walk-off field goal to beat UConn. So that is major progress for them. I'm not going to call for them to now win an SC game this year, but they are better. Mike Wright's a fun player to watch. He's going to get beat up when the SEC play because that offensive line is not very good. If they can keep him healthy and move him around, he's a really exciting player, and we'll at least make them worth watching. And who knows, they might have a shot against a Missouri or a South Carolina once we get into the season. But for them, I think the goal is probably to find 3 wins in the non-conference, and that's an improved season from last year. And Clark Lee's doing the best job he can in tough circumstances, and you're probably looking another year or 2 before assessing kind of what the new ceiling is for Vanderbilt, whether that's 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins. I don't know. It's not back-to-back 8 and 4s. That's not happening again. But I think he's the right man for the job, and that was a good sign to see the nice progress early on in year 2 for them on Saturday night.
Matt Smith, SouthernPigskin.com, joining us. Matt, on a personal note, as I told you before you came on, our last couple of days here on the air with 3 and Out, and I know BJ's not here today, but I speak for him and Ben and say, hey, man, we appreciate you coming on and talking college football. I know we'll keep chatting with you here on SouthernPigskin.com and all that, but as far as the radio show goes, just want to say thanks for coming on the show and always being a good sport talking college football with us.
Oh, always fun. Thanks for having me and keeping asking me to coming back. I guess I'm doing something right at least. So we will talk to you guys soon in a different format, but a heck of a run for you guys in this industry. Most don't last as long as you guys did. So a lot of credit to you guys for keeping that going.
And man, I got to say too, myself and BJ Bennett, we went on this journey called writing a book. And I remember when you bought it and you put it up on social media, man, I already be bragging about you saying, listen, man, I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to these stats, but if Matt was here right now, he'll get you right. I can't deny it or invalidate it, but the homie Matt, I remember when you were at SC Media days, I wasn't in that big room with you because I would have asked something blatantly ridiculous. You would have been like, Ben, that's wrong. But for me, for myself and BJ, man, it's a humbling experience, man. People always say, man, people show you who they are when you're not around. I appreciate you showing love to us, man. You was one. I think you were the first to buy one, man. I might have retweeted that thing 100 times. I might have to read it. I appreciate you, sir.
Awesome. Well, I love your story, Ben. I knew, kind of the highlights of it, but reading the details about your journey and what you got left on your journey still to come. It was pretty cool. So enjoyed it and certainly would recommend it for anyone, especially as we get closer to holidays and gift giving time. It's a good read.
Matt, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk again soon.
You bet. See you, boys.
Matt Smith, SouthernPigskin.com. Always good chatting some college football with him. We've got more to come. It's 3 and Out. Southern Pigskin Radio Network. It's great to be here with you on this Monday. College football is back. Glad you are with us. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio, 912-342-7184. You can call the show. Give us your thoughts. Georgia and Oregon coming up this weekend. A big one, Florida and Utah. There's a lot of big games involving SEC schools right out of the gate here, Ben, where we're going to see some tests for some teams early and kind of get a read on where Billy Napier stands, where Brian Kelly stands in terms of the state of their program, good or bad. And again, I'm not one that's like, Lord knows the fans, if it's bad, if Florida loses by 20, people will be saying, whoa, we made a mistake or what, because you get no grace period. But there are some tremendous games out there where I feel like we're going to get a good early look at what's the stamp Billy Napier's put on his program. What is the stamp that Brian Kelly's been able to put on his program? Because you leave, as you said a number of times, you leave Notre Dame, the creme de la creme of college football programs, in terms of recognition, significance, relevance, people chasing after you, in terms of wanting you in their conference, in terms of talking points. You have a lot of benefits of being at Notre Dame. You were the winningest coach there at Notre Dame, and you leave that and go to LSU. People say, okay, it's either going to be a welcome to the SEC, Brian, right? Or you're going to really thrive. And I'm interested to see kind of which one that is for Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and Kevin, the thing about it is too, these coaches understand too. Like, think about it. Look at the way Matt Smith was saying. Listen, ain't nobody really giving Florida State a really lot of love for what they was able to do against a very inferior opponent. Now we're gonna see what they're really made of. If you are LSU, if you are Tennessee, if you are Florida, you want a big test. If you are Arkansas, you saying to yourself, man, are we getting away from the days of, quote, the confidence builder first game? Like, the first quarter's kind of iffy. The game, the final
when you win the
is,
game, it's a huge confidence builder.
It is. But you know this too, though, Kevin. It's like what we say about certain schools. Look, if you barely win, but if you lose, it's almost like your biggest critic is your fan base. That's going to be your biggest level of criticism. But now, because of social media, everybody's watching. Like, everybody, especially your in-state competitor, your in-conference competition, and just natural naysayers and onlookers. And when you have places like LSU, when you have places like Tennessee, when you have places like Florida, when you have places like South Carolina, everybody's watching. And if you are LSU, Brian Kelly, third highest paid coach, leaving Notre Dame, and people are saying, think about it, Kevin, I mean, he's the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history, but he never won a national championship. That distinction goes to Lou Holtz. So if you leave Notre Dame to go to LSU, which it's for the money, and you ain't going to lesser competition, you going to the best competition in the country. And if you get exposed by Florida State, you already know, Kevin, the Boo Bears gonna come out, and I'm gonna see if he's gonna convert the Creole Brian Kelly real in a second if he loses.
We got more to come. 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Ben, cut days around the NFL. You got to get to it by tomorrow. The Dolphins let go of Sony Michel. So your immediate thought was Falcons better call him. You could probably use him.
Absolutely, you need a running back that plays running back, that's been a running back for a long time, and you can get a former first round pick, a former 2-time Super Bowl champ for the cheap, Kevin. And look, camp casualties are going to happen every single year. Sony Michel has been on 3 teams in 4 years. So got drafted by New England. Was in a trade to go to the Rams. Obviously got released in the offseason to try to get on with the Miami Dolphins. Look, there's no shame in getting cut, man. You always get a chance to come on to another team. I mean, 3,100 yards. I mean, 4.2 yards a carry. I mean, very, very productive player. Only 27 years old. We mentioned Kevin. Hey, Terry Fontenot, you've been trying to get guys on the cheap. Go out there and get you a guy that can only add to that running back.
Might be able to do that. They've got to cut some players of their own to get down to that 53-man roster. But, hey, guys like that available everywhere. Hour 3 next. Good to have you back here on 3 and Out. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us on this Monday. Just a couple days left here of the show. But again, appreciate you taking some time joining us. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. You can catch us streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter as well, or you can give us a shout, 912-342-7184, 912-342-7184. Georgia fans, you are the defending national champs, and it is week 1, and you get Oregon coming to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Ben, obviously Stetson Bennett going to be the starter. Oregon, Dan Lanning not going to name a starter for some ridiculous reason, but we know it's going to be Bo Nix. As in anything, whether it's the transfer game, whether it's the recruit game, you don't just wind up from Georgia to Auburn. I say Georgia. Bo Nix is from Georgia. From going from as a Georgia kid to Auburn to all of a sudden saying, I think I want to go to Oregon. Unless somebody has made you some promises, right, to go there. So we all know Bo Nix is going to start. And, again, Georgia will come out with the title defense, a bunch of new guys on defense, and see how it goes. I've said it a lot. If you're going to get Georgia, first couple of weeks while they're trying to fill some guys in and some new spots might be your best chance to get it done.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're talking about a guy like Dan Lanning, you want to have somebody that has – some level of familiarity with his Georgia team. And Bo Nix hasn't had his a good time or a good showing against his Georgia team. But I think you said it right, Kevin, when you look at this Georgia team as a whole. Stetson Bennett is leading the offense, 3-headed monster at the tight end position with Darnell Washington, obviously Brock Bowers and Eric Gilbert. Who is going to be the guy on the outside? I mean, how is the running game going to look? You got some big-time guys on the defense, on the defense, starting with the defensive line with Nolan Smith and Carter and company. I just think that, for me, what I want to see is halftime adjustments. How is this offense going to look for Georgia? Can Dan Lanning be able to try to expose a very, very, veteran-led defense, but a very young defense? I mean, when you're replacing 5 guys, 5 first-rounders on the defense, 15 draft picks and all in the in the previous draft, that's going to be hard to come by. Stetson Bennett, do they give him the keys, let him go out there and will them a win? Are they going to let him put the ball in the air more? How are they going to use these 3 tight ends? How is his offensive line going to look? Replacing a guy like Dan Lanning is not going to be a hard task. When Kirby Smart was asked about Dan Lanning, he says, and I quote, I'm not worried about Dan Lanning. Because Dan Lanning, while he understands what it takes to beat and compete against a team like Georgia, I don't know if he have those players. I think that Dan Lanning has the best, not named Carter, on the D-line, who's going to be a first-round pick. Penei Sewell, little brother, is going to be one of the best linebackers, if not the best linebacker in college football. He's going to lead I think I give the advantage of linebacker to the Oregon Ducks. But the thing is, I'm not going to give many advantages to them because if we all know Bo Nix is going to, Dan Lanning ain't got the memo. I guess he ain't get the mass text from all the other head coaches saying, hey, man, you're supposed to make a big thing out of these starting quarterback. It's supposed to look like a freaking it's supposed to look like, Bo Nix just signed, as a freaking recruit. Oh, breaking news, Oregon Ducks starting quarterback will be Bo Nix. Okay. Have you noticed a theme? Every quarterback that transferred into their team is becoming the starters. Surprise, surprise. But Bo Nix is going to be the guy. We're going to see how much he's grown. That'll be what his third coordinator in 4 years now. I don't know what type of running game. Oregon has athletes, but you're not going to out-athlete Georgia. Stetson Bennett, I know that we got our own, AC calling in saying, he's going to be in New York winning the Heisman. Or just pump your brakes on that because he had a Heisman Trophy, Heisman worthy season last year. But just like I know, Kevin, it's about what Georgia does. You talk about scrutiny. Oh, my God. Georgia got scrutiny when they weren't winning national championships. We get to see them in the encore. We know the hardest thing to do is repeat because there's a team of Tuscaloosa. I don't know if you heard about them before, but they are coming for everybody. But I think it's going to be a very, very intriguing game. I'm going to be looking forward to the halftime adjustments. I'm going to be looking forward to how can Georgia how can Oregon try to exploit, the very, very small, holes in that defense because Kirby Smart, he prides himself on defense. I remember when they won Dan Quinn got hired at the Falcons to shore up the defense. And well, how is that going? So we'll see what happens, Kevin. But so many intriguing games. But I think two big games in both Mercedes-Benz Dome, Georgia and Oregon, and the Superdome with LSU and LSU and FSU. But yes, Georgia fans, get ready. as you said, Kevin, nowadays we're not looking at football to look at the good things. We want to highlight the mistakes. Oh, Stetson Bennett just threw a pick. Oh, he got sacked. Oh, well, it happens. I've never seen a perfect game. You know how you have a perfect game? If you go out there for one play and it's successful and you run off. Problem is that's one play in the entirety of a game. But I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. This Georgia team, they're going to be hard to beat. I mean, to go undefeated in the SEC is hard to do. They're going to be trying to do it 2 years in a row. And once again, they're going to be led by, BJ third cousin removed, Stetson. And we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, look, and I think that this is an interesting opener for Georgia. They should be favored, a good chance to go out there and get their feet wet. And as people have said, the schedule gets imminently easier after that. A lot of the tougher games going to be at home, Florida. We'll see what the Gators kind of look like, but you've had some good, impressive showings against most of your, quote, rivals at this point. I mean, you've beaten Auburn pretty soundly the last couple of years, have turned the tables on Florida. Georgia Tech's not even close. You've got, Tennessee, who you've been able to handle outside of a Hail Mary from Josh Dobbs. You've had a lot.
And the thing about Josh Dobbs beat Florida, but Josh Dobbs beat Florida in the second half, which stopped the streak, and beat Georgia with a Hail Mary. So I don't know if Josh Dobbs got a little brother, because that's a new thing. We got a brother, you got a cousin or something. But I mean, even though Kevin Hendon Hooker is that guy, like, you look at when they probably put him in there.
Yeah, I think Georgia will still be favored. I mean, as somebody said, Georgia will be favored.
Absolutely.
Georgia's going to be favored in every game on the schedule this year. I think, how does that defense gel together? And again, you just got to accept the fact that it's not going to be as good as last year. Are the players good? Yes. But, I mean, you're talking about a team that put together, 6 shutouts last year.
Which is incredible.
Didn't give up a rushing touchdown till, extremely late in the college football season a year ago. I mean, that kind of stuff just doesn't happen. I mean, that kind of stuff is just ridiculous and stupid from a stat standpoint, Ben. So I think you come out and see how that offense establishes itself. And as we've talked about a lot, if Stetson comes out and plays the way he's capable of playing in this one, maybe Tennessee, Auburn, Florida, if he can play big in those 4 games, I think, Ben, he's got a chance to have a trip to New York on the card. I'm not going to say he's going to win it, but I think, full disclosure, people know this that have listened to the show. You said Stetson about 2/3 of the way through the season. You said Stetson should be on people's lists for going to New York. Not that he's going to win it, but who's been more important to their team? He comes in, he settles the waters offensively, and I think the fact that he's coming back for the encore is going to be something really special to watch, however it plays out. Because most of the time, as you said, the advice out there, Ben, was, oh, you won a national championship. First time in 40 years at Georgia. Just ride. I mean, how many people are saying, Stetson, just ride off into the sunset, my guy? He's like, no, I have another year of eligibility. I want to come back and do this thing. And if he has some good games in big moments, then I think he's going to be there towards the end of the season in those Heisman watch lists.
If we're looking at college football the way we're supposed to look at it, right? With blind taste tests, we're not supposed to come in. Yes, we come in with our favorites based off the previous year, but that still should put Stetson in it. I mean, Stetson was listen, I'm the quarterback on the last team standing. When I went up against Bryce Young, the first time, I want to say Bryce Young was the MVP in the SEC championship game. When I saw him again, I was the MVP of a national championship game, and I was the MVP of the playoff game. And I think what happens is, Kevin, it's almost like we don't give guys their just dues because we've already made it up in our mind. You mean to tell me Aiden Hutchinson was more impressive last year than Stetson Bennett? Aiden Hutchinson wasn't more impressive than Will Anderson. And I think that's the problem with it. It's almost like saying, oh, if we let Stetson Bennett come to New York, hey, dude, we're actually doing it right. Yes, that's what it's supposed to be. That's why I always say, man, I am a fan of college football players first, college football second, and my alma mater third, and those – and number 2 and number 3 is interchangeable, because I'm just looking at it as he shouldn't be I would think that his genetics or the fact that he's not a big guy would only help him. I mean, Stetson Bennett, I guarantee you he's bigger than Kyler Murray. I guarantee you he's about the same size as Baker Mayfield. What did they do? They won the Heisman, the number 1 overall pick. They didn't win the national championship. And I think that's the problem, Kevin. We get so fixated on, oh, man, he ain't 6'3", he ain't 6'4". Is his mom tall? No. Is his daddy tall? No. Well, where he get his height from? It's not going to just happen. I'm gonna say this again. I know I've said this on the show a bunch of times. I see young men. I said, listen, man. If your mama's short and your daddy's short and you tall, that ain't your daddy. I'm just telling you. You might want to question some things. We are judging Stetson Bennett off something he cannot control, but this is what he can control. What he did on the field in a room that he's the only guy that ain't got 5 stars next to his name. In a room that he's the only one that wasn't recruited to come to Georgia. He's the only one that when they needed a quarterback, Kirby Smart said, hey, man, could you come back and help us? And since then, he's been the most durable. He's been the most consistent. And dare I say, he's been the most important. I never said he was better than Jordan Davis. I never said he was better than Kobe Dean. I didn't say that. I didn't say he was better than George Pickens. But take Stetson Bennett off the team. Kevin, from what we've seen, do you think JT Daniels is going to win it? I say no. I don't care what would make me, outside of his Mississippi State debut, we hadn't heard from him since. Oh, I know who he is. He's in West Virginia.
That's getting ready for the backyard brawl, baby. To take on Pitt and Keaton Slovis.
Stetson Bennett, in my opinion, means more to college football than just the University of Georgia, because isn't college football about the underdog story? I mean, I know people love Clay Matthews Jr. Yeah, Clay Matthews, that was a first round pick when he went to Green Bay. Guess what? He was a walk-on at USC. He walked on. And I know he went on to have an incredible career, one of the top Green Bay Packers of all time. But all I'm saying is it's got to mean something to win the national championship, especially when, I'm always second fiddle to every other quarterback and his defense that we was on, that he had for Georgia. I get that part, but defense didn't play offense. And if you don't think they needed Stetson Bennett in that national championship, you better look again. They needed him to make every play and every throw. I know the season started with a pick 6 and it ended with a pick 6, but the pick 6 won it against Clemson. It sealed it against Alabama. I think if they're doing it right, they should give this man his just dues. Stop hating on the man because you ain't done what he's done. Because last time I checked, Bryce Young, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He ain't never won a natty that he was the starting quarterback for. He was there when Mac Jones and them won it. And Kevin, it's in the contract. Nick Saban does 2 things. 1, I'm the highest paid coach. 2, I win natties with every draft, with every recruiting class. And Will Anderson, Bryce Young, y'all up. Good. May God bless you if you got to play Alabama this year, because it's going to get rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that we could see Georgia-Alabama showdown yet again there in Atlanta. We've got more to come here. It is 3-9, including its cut days around the National Football League. The Jags are in the news. They've made a trade today. We'll tell you about that. It's 3 Now on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here on 3 and Out, Ben, as we get down the stretch of the what's left preseason of the National Football League. You have cut day tomorrow. Teams starting to go ahead and release guys. And in the case of the Jags, they traded a guy, Laviska Shenault, and reading up some of the quick kind of reaction to that. This is a guy they were probably going to cut just to get down under the number. And as they said, it's a guy you didn't have in your plans. You got something for a guy you were going to cut. That's a dub. If you're Jacksonville. So these are kind of the guys that are floating around out there, Ben. And you mentioned Sony Michel got cut by the Dolphins. I mean, if you're the Falcons and say, how do we feel about Damian Harris? How do we feel about, I mean, I guess Tyler Algier, you drafted him, you're going to stick him around, but like, how do you feel about your run game? There's guys like that floating around out there now that you've hit the cut mark. If you can get a guy for cheap and help support your roster.
This is the harsh reality of the National Football League. I know it's going to hurt our own BJ when he realizes that one of his favorite players, Laviska Shenault, has got to let go because he was a guy.
No, he got traded.
Got traded. And look, I give the Jaguars a lot of credit of trading him. Obviously, they traded him out of the AFC to the NFC, but they traded to a team that's definitely going to be able to utilize what he does. Laviska Shenault is a guy that you could do a lot of things with, but he has to have more of a focus on him. Real similar to what Atlanta did with Cordero Patterson, except at the wide receiver position. They want to get the ball in his hands through like sweeps and like screens and different things. But he was an odd man out. Can we talk about it? We get to saying Zay Jones, big contract. Christian Kirk, big contract. Marvin Jones was a key contributor last year. Everett Ingram. Then you start talking about James Robinson. Then you start talking about Travis Etienne. It's only so many balls to go around. Laviska Shenault was the odd man out, and to keep him from having to wonder where he's going to be, he's going from Jacksonville to Charlotte. That's a quick flight. He's still in the South. He gets to go from Trevor Lawrence to Baker Mayfield. At least he's going to be, a key contributor. A guy like Sony Michel. It is a head scratcher the most, but when you think about what Coach Mike Daniels is trying to do down there, in Miami, look, you got to be a focal point. I mean, with Tua and and Waddle and Tyreek Hill and what those guys and Gesicki, they're gonna have a big time offense. He didn't fit in the plans. When you are a veteran trying to catch on with a team, you got to be able to go out there and show flashes. You can't just blend in with the rest of the team. You got to show why we brought you in here. I do think Sony Michel will land on the team because winning 2 Super Bowls, only going into year like number 4, I think number 5, he still has a lot left in the tank. He's only 27 years old. I think he still can go out there and be a key contributor. This is the thing, though. If you are a running back and just say you've been in the league 4 or 5 years already, I don't see you getting 5-year extensions anymore, but 2-3 years. I mean, you see it now, Kevin. These guys are getting 3-year extensions, right? 4-year extensions, which is really a 3-year deal and an option. But Laviska Shenault, we talk about Laquan Treadwell. He got let go. Another first-round pick out of Ole Miss that didn't make it in Minnesota, was able to go to Jacksonville, try to resurrect his career, and it just didn't pan out. I hope these guys land on their feet, and I hope people stop thinking that everybody's going to get drafted, develop, ball out, get a new contract, go on to have an incredible career. Sometimes you become a guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he said, look, whoever wants to pay me, and we was looking at the all-time passing yards, he's on it. I mean, he's put up some big-time numbers at the time in the NFL. It's how can I contribute? But, Kevin, I know we're talking about Laviska Shenault getting traded and Laquan Treadwell getting cut and Sony Michel getting cut. They are not the only big names that is going to get let go, because when it comes to camp, you get cut for 1 or 2 reasons. 1, you cost too much, right? Or 2, you're a rookie. And a lot of times you don't know if you cost too much. You really, really don't know. When Keyshawn Johnson was back with the Carolina Panthers, he was actually working for NFL Network, or he was working on television doing a spot. And when the second-round pick came up, it was Dwayne Jarrett out of his USC. He's all, come on over, Dwayne Jarrett, man. We'll take good care of you. No, that was your last day as a Panther, right? I mean, I'm just saying, Jamal Anderson, he's working the draft. The Falcons come up, they get who? TJ Duckett, running back out of Michigan. Said, oh, man, they got a running back? Yeah, that was Jamal Anderson's last play. Last down as a Falcon. Football, baseball, basketball, young, cheap. How young can it be? How least amount of money we need to pay them? That is every league. We pay you when you are unavoidable, and if we can't avoid you, we will. Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall pick. Where is he at? On team number 2. Sam Darnold, 2nd overall pick in that same draft. Where on the same team dealing with an injury. I'm telling you, if they can avoid from paying you, they're going to do it. But Laviska Shenault, congratulations to you, sir. Your NFL career continues to keep going in an offense that I definitely think they can find a way to get you to rock. Sony Michel, hopefully, you can land on the squad. And like I said, Kevin, I think Atlanta should be calling him right now because you are getting a former first-round pick who's playing motivated football for veteran minimum.
Well, I mean, at this stage of the game, obviously it's about 17 weeks, but you take a chance on a guy like that. How quickly do they get up to speed? Ben, let's just say you play preseason with the Titans. They cut you. You go to Atlanta a week before the first game. How quickly are you up to speed on what's going on? How quickly do you think you can contribute if they made a move like that?
It just depends on the offense, and it depends on what they asking me to do. Kevin, a playbook takes – look, learning a playbook is one thing. Being familiar, and getting comfortable with it, that's everything. It's not about learning it. I mean, they can tell me what I got on certain plays because it's really the same plays, just different terminology, different route combinations. But I want to be able to know I want to be able to know it. There were times when I was with the Titans that they used to tell us, do what he meant, not what he said. Because you got to think about a quarterback. I'm the quarterback. I got to get the play. I got to get the formation. I got to call the play. I got to look at the hot. I got to go side adjustments. I got the audible out. So sometimes he may call a play and we have to do what he meant. Because if we come out and you think I'm going to come out to the play and say, but Stephen Matt called it wrong. He's going to say, what did you just say? So I think that's the thing. But the longer you are in the National Football League, the more you understand this. When you first come out of college, you are learning plays, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it. Once you've been in the league, you learn concepts. I'm learning the concept of a play. So Devontae Adams said that. He was getting interviewed. He said, look, man, I got to know Josh McDaniels offense is very, very, very complicated. I got to know I don't play the X. I don't play the Z. I play all of them. I play all 3 positions at the wide receiver position, and I got to know what everybody's doing on every single route. That way, the defense can't key on me because I'm in the slide. I'm on the left side. I'm on the right side. I'm coming in motion, and that's what makes the best players is the smartest players are usually the best players because they understand the concept of plays. Could I have picked it up? Yes, but I think too, Kevin, that's why veterans get a chance to be camp casualties and get land on another team because they understand that. They don't take it personal. It's a business. And people be thinking, hey, man, you're supposed to get drafted. You're a first-round pick. How you on another team? Hey, man, look, I was there with Dexter Jackson when App State beat Michigan in 2007. He was a second-round pick by the Bucks in 2008. Aqib Talib was the number 1 overall pick. He got cut after a year. It's business, man. We ain't got time to wait on you. Yeah, the higher the draft picks mean the higher the signing bonus. That don't mean you're going to be there. And to those former players who online talking trash to fans talking about trying to tell them your resume, please find something to do. You don't have to, man. When people say things like you only played 7 years, are they serious? Like, do they know how incredible that is? So please stop trying to go back and forth with somebody who's sitting behind the keyboard in their mama's basement, trying to not make a lot of noise because mama just got off work. Stop the cap. You don't have to prove yourself. Go out there and make the best of your ability because, like I said, Kevin, it's gonna be some big time names get a chance to land on some big time teams because I need veterans that can help me right now. And if you can do it by committee and you can come in for the cheap, we got a place for you.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what Atlanta tries to do. They've got to get their roster down. Now, they're one of the few teams that hasn't made any moves of note today. I know the Jags had like 6-7 guys that they let go or cut, released, however they did it. They've traded Laviska Shenault, but the Falcons have been relatively quiet. They have until tomorrow, obviously, to get a lot of that stuff done. So will be interesting to see who and what and where they decide to make their changes on the roster. But again, this is a Falcons team that, they beat the Jags. They won preseason game number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were some good things, but they obviously have a lot of work before they are uberly competitive. Here, no Marcus Mariota. He's obviously going to be the starter. Defensively, I think we counted today, you ended the preseason with 3 sacks and 11 quarterback hits in 3 games. And none of those from a guy that's going to be making any kind of serious contribution on the team. That's tough. to paint a rosy picture going forward that, hey, we're going to be a team to contend with. And we really did, even against backups, we really didn't do much against anybody as far as impress defensively.
Yeah. And Kevin, the harsh reality for Atlanta is they got to understand it's a week-by-week process. Listen. Don't look too far down the road. We know there aren't any lofty expectations when you talk about Flowery Branch, when you talk about Atlanta Falcons, because right now you got Marcus Mariota, who's trying to resurrect his career, a guy who was a second overall pick to who? Jameis Winston, who's also in probably the best situation in the NFC South when you look at what they gave him with Olave and Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara and so on and so forth. So if you are Atlanta, take it play in, play out, game in, game out. Go out there and try to be able to rush the pass on third down, try to be able to extend drives on third down. If you are on offense, try to find a way to get the ball to Kyle Pitts in the red zone. Drake London, can you go out there and be the top pick in the 2022 draft as far as like receivers go? And if you're on defense, man, y'all got to play as a unit. Y'all going to have to play as a unit. That front seven is going to have to play above and beyond, what they thought they could do, because it don't matter if you got A.J. Terrell and company, and Hayward and company, because it's not going to matter if you got really, really good cornerbacks. If the quarterback just sitting in the pocket playing catch, it's going to be a long day, and that's not even Kevin, think about it. When it comes to pass rush, down there 31-32. When it comes to stopping the run, down in the 31-32. So their defense is bad in all spectrums of the game. They're going to have to get I don't know if you get better just because the season is among us. But I just think that when you think about this Atlanta Falcons team, they're gonna have to figure out what they want to be. The hardest person to feed is one staring back at you in the mirror. They're gonna have to tell the truth of what they're seeing, because Kevin, the eye in the sky don't lie.
It certainly
is coming very, 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 very quickly.
We've got more to come here. 912-342-7184. Your number to join us. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. College football week 1 is here, Ben, and a lot of folks counted down to those big games on Saturday, Georgia and Oregon. Of course, Florida, Utah team that, again, I picked to make the college football playoff. They obviously have a big win, and Florida seeing one of their formers going to get the starting nod at linebacker there for Utah. But a big game there for Billy Napier right out of the gate, Ben. And, we talked about it with Brian Kelly. I mean, I think Florida fans are maybe patient with Billy Napier, but they're still expecting a lot given the hype, given the interest. I was like, look at what he did at Louisiana. He should be able to do that here at Florida.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Night game. You get the Pac-12 champs in Utah. Big time quarterback, big time tight end play. They got some run stuffers at defensive tackle. Really, really good at the linebacker position, even though Devin Floyd, I'm happy that he's moved on to greener pastures with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who might be the best linebacker in this recent draft. But, I mean, Kevin, it's going to be a real test. I mean, it goes back to what I said about, these teams saying, hey, we want to know what we have out the gate. And the reason why they want to have big-time talent out the gate, because it used to be a time when you get 2 or 3 games before you get into your schedule. No, you get right into your ass. Certain teams get into their conference schedule first games of the year. So Florida, you're gonna learn a lot. You already know Montreal Johnson coming over from Louisiana. Osiris Torrance coming over from Louisiana. You get Trevor Etienne, the brother of Travis Etienne. I mean, you're gonna get Lorenzo Lingard, Naquan Wright. I mean, you're gonna see what Anthony Richardson is made of. You're gonna see Justin Shorter. You're gonna see Pearsall, big time receiver coming over from Arizona State. You're gonna see Whitmore. You're gonna see what his offensive line can do. But when you start talking about Javon Dexter, right? I mean, we started talking about Brenton Cox and Ventrell Miller and Trey Dean and Jason Marshall. You got a veteran defense that can't blame it on Ty Grantham. And if you are Florida, no one cares who you run out there. You are the University of Florida. Like Kevin, once again, I look at a blind taste test. If I'm just going to the game and they say Florida versus Utah, regardless of what I know or don't know, I'm gonna say, where's the game at? The game is at Florida. Oh, I'm gonna pick the Gators. That's regardless of what and Utah gets criticized because of who they are, not how they play. No one knows where Utah is. But guess what? They run it through. Not only did Utah run through the Pac-12, they beat Oregon twice, and they almost beat Ohio State. So they're a fabulous football team. But it's one of those, and they're not a Johnny come lately. It's Utah. Okay, play with them you want to. Those guys are gonna come in. They want to establish the run. They got a dual threat quarterback. They got a two-headed monster at the tight end position. Both of their tight ends entered the NFL draft, and both of them took their name out because both of those guys they got a U tight end that really really shifted about 6'1", 6'2", about 220. The other one about like 6'4", 6'5", about 240. So they guys that can go out there and run. It's gonna be a test for everybody on that defense. So Ventrell Miller and Chief Borders and Derek Wingo. But I want to see how good this Florida team is. And like you say, Kevin, the good thing about the first game, over-exaggerate, underestimate, whatever you want. The season's not one loss in the first game, but you already know, Kevin, it's almost like we can't wait to go, oh my, we are living and dying with every play, every series, every quarter, every situation. That's why I can't be on Twitter. Not during these games. We have lost it's like you're watching the game. Oh my God, we didn't get it on 31. Oh my God. So, but I will say, Billy Napier, we were looking at the top 10 highest paid coaches. I think he's number 11 or 12. And he has a coach down. So I know that Brian Kelly is the third highest paid coach. He has a coach down in the SEC. Well, a guy like Billy Napier, $7 million, like 7.1, 7.2, that's a lot of scratch for a guy that's earned it from what he's done. But you know how it is, Kevin? It's what you do, not what you've done. It's what you're doing, not how you go in the process of doing it. I know he has built an army. If you haven't seen the Florida,
they caught a lot of flack about that. It's like, y'all got more staff and coaches, you got players.
Listen. And so you know what Alabama's doing? We're going to need 200 coaches because Florida got 150. But at the same time, he's looking, think about this. Imitation, right? It's flattery. I get it. But emulate is the hardest thing to do. What are the best programs doing? Analysts for every single position. Position coaches for every single position, and quality control coaches, assistants all over. Clemson does it. Ohio State does it. Georgia does it. Alabama's doing it. Who's trying to emulate it? Florida's doing it now. Miami's doing it. Why? Because before I can beat them, I need to emulate what they're doing. And then I start stockpiling talent. Billy Napier's done an incredible job on the recruiting trail. But one thing he has, Kevin, I know we get to talk about the quarterback play. He ain't, Bryce Young and Stetson Bennett and Hendon Hooker and Will Levis, right? And and KJ Costello and TJ Finley and on and on and on and on and on. He got Anthony Richardson. So as far as like upside, he got a guy that can flat out do it, but you got to prove it. The greatest thing about sports is update your resume every single day, either through practice, on the playing field. He's going to have to show it, Kevin, because number one, I had a chance to interview him. I said, listen, man, you from Gainesville, you play quarterback, you wear number 15. Sir, you don't lack confidence. You wear number 15 at quarterback in Florida, you better be something, because you know they're looking for that thing to be retired ASAP. But I think they got good shot in the 7 o'clock in the swamp. I've heard that Utah is trying to emulate humidity. Let me tell y'all something. You want to emulate humidity in the South? Let me tell you how you do it. You can't. You cannot do it.
Make all your clothes wet and go run around outside. We're
gonna sit outside and we're gonna go different spurs. No. In the South, if your AC go out, you got the windows down. Woo! Woo! All of it. You're trying to drive fast, and only thing blowing to your car is hot air from the outside. Good luck.
That's the 2x65 air conditioning.
I just know that, like you said, Kevin, there are no mulligans anymore. Give him a year to figure it out. Nope, you can blame Dan Mullen for that. Dan Mullen, say what you want about him, back-to-back New Year's Six bowls. It fell off a cliff after that, but hey, hands, a new $85 million football facility. I want to say a top 10 recruiting class already for 2023. You bring it back Anthony Richardson, Javon Dexter. You bring over Osiris Torres. You got Brenton Cox. You got Trey Dean. You got Jason Marshall. So you got a bunch of guys all ACC, the first and second team, with Osiris Torres being on an All-American team. No excuses. It don't matter who you got. Last time I checked, I never ever thought that Kyle Trask was going to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. He was, and they was hating on him, but it happens. And so you know how it is, Kevin. When you go to big time programs, no one cares. Like you don't lose. Well, we didn't get no one cares. Got to go out there and get it done, and we'll see. Because like I said, Kevin, the game's gonna be over at 11:58, so it didn't go into Sunday. And I'm gonna have to wait till the next day to go to the box score. Yeah, I'm gonna do my.
Then it'll be sitting there going, especially if it's going bad, you might have to say, step away. Hey, we got more to come. It is 3 and Out on this Monday, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Great to be here on this Monday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you're making us a part of your day. Braves off tonight. They come back home against the Colorado Rockies. Ben, 3 games behind the Mets. I know a lot of folks saying, look, you had your opportunities against a good team in St. Louis. Mets lose, you lose. Didn't really have a chance to make up ground. Still 3 games back. Still within striking distance, but obviously it's important that you continue to play well as much as possible. I think to put pressure on the Mets also to go out and play well, and the Mets to go out and beat teams that they're supposed to beat. And the closer you get to late September, ask any team, the harder that becomes if you know, look, we have to go out and win to secure up what we want to do. Not to say that, good teams still don't win, but you put the pressure on them to continue to win while you're out there doing your thing.
Yes, Kevin, and this Braves team, they understand the task at hand. You got, I know you still got the troublemakers in Grissom and Harris, but Riley and with all this going on, I mean, I don't know how close he is to coming back, but I see that Ozzie is steadily making his way back. And when the Braves lose the good teams, I don't want them to lose, but if they lose the good teams, it just shows that, look, man, the same way you guys are trying to keep pace, we trying to keep pace in our divisions as well. The Cardinals are a team that has postseason aspirations as well, but I still know this Braves team knows that, look, we can't. Yeah, they might have let a series get away from. I know that was the talk of the weekend. You can't have lapses in play, in judgment. You got to make sure you take, because I know this is the BJ Bennett coming. Every single game helps because Kevin, I think you said it to us, and you're like, if the playoffs started today, you want to do your best to win this division because it's a much easier trek. I hate to use the word easy and playoffs together, but the fact that you control, you get as many home games as you can have is only going to help you, because look, man, that National League is rough. You get in the playoffs, it is rough. I don't care how you get in, but I do think this Braves team still got some good games left. It's going to come down to the stretch. Some could say, outside of just certain series this year, the last month of the regular season of baseball, when you talk about teams trying to position it is about as good as it gets. Because I don't know what's being said in the locker room, but I'm pretty sure, hey, guys, come on, because what we do now has a lot to do with our level of familiarity and comfortability when we come playoff time. And the good thing about Atlanta is I got to say this, even though shout out to Vaughn Grissom. Saying, man, I almost got drafted by the Mets. I would have been miserable. And
he's had a little comeback to earth moment. I think he's struggling a little bit. And that's the thing I think you worry about with the Braves is a lot of these young guys haven't struggled a lot. Do you have that comeback to reality moment at the worst time? Again, nobody expects Vaughn Grissom to hit 400 for the rest of the year. You expect there to be an adjustment period. You hope it's not too terribly long as you come down the stretch here.
I think that's where Austin Riley comes in, right, to be able to talk to Vaughn Grissom and tell him, look, I had to deal with my struggles as well. I got called up at an inopportune time just like you, but just like you, I had to be able to earn my spot. They didn't give me anything. It went from, is he ready to be the everyday third baseman? Do we got to put him in, do we got to put him out there in the outfield to get him going? Now I'm the everyday third baseman. If you want to make sure that you are on the Braves roster in 2023, you got to go out there and earn it now. The thing about this Braves team, Kevin, that you can appreciate is what you say about rookie pitchers. If they go to the postseason, if they're good enough, throw them in there. Why? No greater experience for a pitcher in the postseason. Everybody's watching. The pressure is on, and you got to show that you can do it when the games matter the most. If you're a Grissom, they say, look, it's great what you've done, but don't get too comfortable. You got to earn it every day. You don't got the same stripes on the wall as Ronald Acuna. You don't got the same stripes on the wall as Dansby. You don't got the same stripes on the wall as Olsen and myself. I don't got as much stripes on the wall as Olsen, and because he's been in the league longer, and he replaced Freddie Freeman. I don't got as many. So when it comes to Grissom, I think what he's learning is, hey, man, this is a welcome, great environment to get better in. But understand, the pressure is here. And just because Snit ain't yelled at you like he could, don't get it to ask Ronald Acuna. He benched him, which lets you know, look, you're a great young talent, but be very, very careful of what you say in the media, man, because everything is clickbait. Every single thing. And guess what? If you might be ready to get your ribs ready, we got to play the Mets again, because they heard what you said. And that's the thing about baseball, right, Kevin? It's like, hey, man, we got to test them ribs. Sometimes it ain't because you stare down it's because you want to talk trash. You think you got something? And because it's so late in the season, I don't know if the bench is gonna clear because man, we didn't clear when they hit Acuna. So you got young ribs, man. Drink you some milk, put you some apple salt on it, you'll be all right. I just think that, yes, Kevin, while a slump can happen, I just hope it doesn't happen I hope it's not elongated. I hope it's something that, hey, look, you got to earn it every single day. Go out there, show us what you do with your gloves, show us what you do with your bat, because you brought us unnecessary attention, man, because people put a mic in your face, and don't let Michael Harris meows get to you. Because while we want you to be who you are, we also want you to know you got to learn how to be a pro too. We respect every team we play, and you want to talk trash, beat them. We can talk trash in the privacy of the locker room when nobody can hear. When they put the mics in your face, be professional, be considerate, but no matter what, be humble, man, because it's going to come back to bite you, not necessarily with the Mets, them other teams we got to play. They saw that kind of stuff too, and the last thing they want is to get, made fun of or, look bad by a rookie.
Absolutely. And again, Braves off tonight. We'll see if they can, kind of refresh themselves and get ready for the home push, because you're coming up on September 1st, coming up on Thursday, and that's it. I mean, that's the push towards the postseason right there, and you certainly don't want to get left playing in those early rounds. That's the whole, I think, impetus of winning the division right now is you don't want to get stuck having to play more postseason baseball where anything can happen. Those short series in Major League Baseball where people say, look, you still got to go out and do it. I mean, a best of 7, I think the best team wins. Look at the 3-game series in baseball. The Dodgers got did up by the Pirates in a short series at one point this year. I know you can say, well, postseason's different. No, it's not. It's played a little bit differently, but if you get good pitching, you run across the wrong team at the wrong time, and all of a sudden, you find yourself in a bad way, and that can happen to anybody out there. Appreciate Matt Smith joining us here on 3 and Out. We got a couple more of these to go as we come down the stretch here of 3 and Out. We're so glad you're with us. Shoot us a message at Pigskin Radio on Twitter. We're streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com as well. And we'll see you tomorrow all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Again, right here, ESPN Coastal on Twitter and more. Appreciate you stopping by and making us a part of your day, especially in these last couple of days here with us on 3 and Out.